Hello kiddos! Today we are doing day 4. So the guided practice we did in class. The partner work you will do with a partner when you finished watching this video for the independent work. Alright, here we are. It says independent work page 1 and we're on day 4. So there should be 4-digit numbers on this one. Let's begin. Alright, here we have 5,022 times 6. I'm going to remember to make my line so that I have a nice organized space. Okay, 5,022 is close to what number? Because we're in the thousands, I'm going to say, well, it's definitely closer to 5,000. So we're going to do 5,000 times 6. Well, because I know 6 times 0 is 0, my 0 goes in the ones place. Then 6 times 0 is 0. That goes in the tens place. 6 times 0 is 0. That goes in the hundreds place. And 6 times 5 is 30. It's going to go in thousands and the 10,000s place. So my answer should be about 30,000. Probably a little bit more because 5,022 is a little bit more than just 5,000. All right, let's do our area model. Because this is a 4-digit number, I know that I'm going to first write out my problem again. 5,022 times 6. And I see that I have 4 digits here. So my area model is going to have 4 parts. We've got the ones, the tens, the hundreds place, and the thousands place. And then we're going to multiply that by our digit 6. So in 5,022, the value in the ones place is 2. The value of the 2 in the tens place is 20. The value of the 0 in the hundreds place is 0 hundreds. And the value of the 5 in the thousands is 5,000. We're going to add those together because this is all one number. Then we will multiply. Okie dokie. Let's start in the ones place. We're going to start by multiplying 2 times 6. Then we're going to say, okay, I know 2 times 6 is 12. Then we will multiply, 20, the 20 in here, times 6 times 6. So 6 goes here. Then I will say, okay, I know 6 times 0 is 0. That goes in my ones place. And 6 times 2 is 12. So that's 20 times 6 is 120. Then we go next and we say, all right, I have 0 times 6. 0 times 6. Any number times 0 is 0. Then we have 5,000 times 6. So we're going to write that here. I start by multiplying 6 times the ones place, and the ones place is 0. 6 times the tens place, and the 10 place is 0. And 6 times the hundreds place, that also is 0. And then 6 times the thousands place. 6 times 5 is 30. So in order to find our answer, we have to put all of our parts together. Now, as I'm doing this, the important part is that I'm making sure that in my places that I'm writing them in the correct spot. So the 2 must be in the tens place, the 1 in the hundreds, and then in 12, the 1 in the tens, and the 2 in the hundreds. And then your job will be to add it up and check. Is my answer close to 30,000? Pause the video to do that. Now we will begin partial products. In order to do partial products, we first need to write our equation. So we have 5,022 times 6. Now to keep my partial products organized, I'm going to draw my little line here so that I can write the numbers that I'm multiplying over here and my partial products below the equation. First, we're going to start and multiply our ones. So I'm going to multiply 2 ones times 6. And I'm going to need to write kind of small because we know that we're going to end up multiplying 1, 2, 3, 4 things and then adding them up. So 2 times 6, 12. My 2 goes in my ones place and my 1 goes in my tens place. Next, we're going to multiply 6 times the 2 tens. 2 tens is the same as 20. So we're doing 20 times 6. 20 times 6, well, if I do 6 times 0, that's going to be 0 in the ones place. And 6 times 2 is 12. Now we'll go on to multiplying our third group. Now we have 6 times 0. 6 times 0 is 0. And then we'll do 6 times 5. But the 5 is in the thousands place, so we must call it 5,000 times 6. In the ones place times 6 is 0. The 0 in the tens place times 6 is 0. I need to make sure I'm lining up my numbers. The 0 in the hundreds place times 6 is still 0. And then the 5,000s times, the 5 in the thousands times 6 is 30. Now we will add them up. And you should have the same number in partial products as you had in your area model. And it should be close to 30,000. Now we're going to do our distributive property of multiplication. So in my distributive property, I have to say, okay, when I was multiplying, I like to look at my area model to do this. I say, oh, okay, well, I took 500 plus 0 plus 20 plus 2, and that was all together, and I multiplied it times 6. So I'm going to take 6 times 5,000 plus 0 plus 20 plus 2. And that's going to be one way that we can show the distributive property. Now I need my parentheses because this represents 5,022. The other way that I could show that what we did was that, well, in the area model, we multiplied each value times 6. And we did the same thing in partial products. So our other way that we could write this is 5,000 times 6 plus 0 times 6 plus 20 times 6 plus 2 times 6. So I'm going to add my little plus signs here. And I'm going to put parentheses around these because they were each a different step that we did. So I will also write 5,000 times 6, that's in parentheses because that was one step, plus the next step, 0 times 6, plus the next step, 20 times 6, plus the next step, 2 times 6. Super job, guys. I really feel like you're starting to get the hang of it. I'm really proud of you. Now you might notice that you're getting faster at doing multiplication, but the numbers are getting larger. Now we have an answer in the 30,000s, which is pretty high. But we're not taking a lot of steps. We're just doing simple steps in the area model and in partial products. One question that I got today about doing the different models is what happens if your answers are not the same. How can you figure out where your error was? Okay, and usually I go back and I look and make sure that I wrote them correctly here and here. And then, so if I made an error in my area model, I would go back and check. Did I put 5,000, the value, or did I just put 500 or 5? That'll make it a lot different. Did I put the value of the hundreds? Did I put the value of the tens? Did I put the value of the ones? And then look here and make sure you wrote the correct numbers. Some people are writing like 5,000 times 5 instead. So we want to make sure that we are really multiplying both of these numbers here in this box, and this number and this number in this box. Okay. Then check your multiplication. We don't want to make an error and say like 5 times 6 is 25. Okay. So you just walk through the steps again and then walk through your adding again. In partial products, if you make an error, go back and say, okay, did I multiply 2 times 6? Yes, I did. Did I multiply 20 times 6? Oh, no, I actually put a 3 here or something. That will help you find all the different errors and then add it up and make sure that you get the same thing. That was a great question, by the way. Thank you for asking it today. All right, moving on to the next problem. I drew my line so that we could see the organization. Now we're going to estimate. 6,628. Well, if I round it to the nearest thousand, it's going to be 7,000. That's quite a bit larger, so I know that my number that I'm getting needs to be smaller because 6,620 is smaller than 7,000. So what is 4 times 7,000? Well, we multiply each space. So 4 times the ones place, 4 times 0 is 0. 4 times the tens place, 4 times 0 is 0 in the tens. 4 times the hundreds place is 0 again in the hundreds. And 4 times 7 is 28. So our answer should be quite a bit less than 28,000. Because I can see that I have a 4-digit number here, I need to make sure that my area model has 4 digits. So I'm going to write my problem: 4 times 6,628. Make sure as you're doing your area model that it doesn't fill up your whole box, because we still need to add up our parts on the side. So I know that I'm going to have 4 places because I need ones, tens, hundreds, and thousands. I'm also noticing that people are forgetting to put the number they're multiplying by over here. So if you're forgetting, maybe we want to do that first. We're multiplying this really large number by 4. So 4 is going to be on our left side. What is the value in the ones place? 8. What is the value in the tens place? Well, 2 tens, 10, 20 is 20. What's the value in the hundreds place? 6 hundreds would be 100, 200, 300, 400, 500, 600. What's the value in the thousands place? Well, it says 6,000, so it must be 6 thousands. I can add those together so that we know they all go together. All right, now it's your turn. I want you to go through and multiply each part. So we're going to multiply our number on top, 6,000, times our number on the side, 4. You're going to do that for the next 3 places, the hundreds, the tens, and the ones. Go ahead and do that. Pause the video. So we have 600 times 4, 20 times 4, and 8 times 4. Now it's your turn to multiply them out and write your answers below. Pause the video and write your answers down here. Now I'm going to back off a little bit from helping you, so you're going to take those answers that you got and you're going to add them up over here. And it should be less than 28,000. So check that your answer here is less than 28,000. Now moving on to partial products, we're going to write our equation in the standard way. So with the larger number on top times the smaller number, then you're going to be organized and make sure that you're writing the numbers that you're multiplying together over here. So we're going to start in the ones place and circle 8 times 4. And of course, we're also going to write 8 times 4 over here on the right side in parentheses because that's the first step that we did. And your answer will go here. Then you're going to go to your next one. We're going to multiply the tens times the 4. So 2 tens is how much? It's 20. So we're going to do 20 times 4. And your answer will go here. I would like you to notice that 8 times 4 is also over here, and 20 times 4 is also over here. Okay, now we're going to circle our hundreds place. 6 hundreds times 4 will be our next step. So because 6 is in the hundreds place, we're going to have 600 times 4. Okay, and our answer will go here. And then our last step, we're going to circle our thousands place. So now we have 6 thousands times 4. So 6,000 times 4. And your answer to 6 thousands times 4 will go here. Now it's your turn to add them up. And again, your answer goes here, and it should be the same as the answer we got in the area model. If it's not, make sure you go back and check all your steps, especially the multiplication. So 8 times 4 should be 32. Okay, 2 times 4, 8. 6 times 4, 24. Those are simple things that we can check. We can check that we put the correct number of zeros here also. Lastly, we're going to move on to the distributive property. So I always see it the easiest in the area model. I know that I took 6,628 and wrote it in expanded form. So that all goes in parentheses. And then I multiplied the whole thing times 4. So I have 4 times 6,000 plus 600 plus 20 plus 8. So that goes here. And then I also have each part that I did. So first, I can either use my area model or I can use my partial product. So I could say, well, I did 6,000 times 4 first. So that stays together. I put parentheses around that. And then I added, and then I did 600 times 4 next. And then 20 times 4 next, that has to stay together, and 8 times 4 next, and because I have to put them all together, I have to put plus signs between them. So, this would be another way that we could write the distributive property, and it's going to go down here. Great job, guys. Let's keep going. All right, now we're on page 2. So if you're still writing on the last page, pause the video because I don't want to go on without you. All right, I'm going to look at my page and I'm going to say, okay, the first thing I'm going to do is make it organized. All right, awesome. I'm now organized. Let's begin with our estimate of 1,000 1,279 times 3. So what is 1,279 close to? Well, 1,279 is close to 1,000. And if I did that 3 times, that's an easy problem. It would be 3,000. So our number should be a little bit more than or greater than 3,000 because we still have these 279 that we have to do 3 times. Okay, so there's our estimate. We're going to make an area model. Our area model will have 4 places because we have the ones, the tens, the hundreds, and the thousands. So I'm going to write my problem, 1,279 times 3. Pause the video, draw your area model as far as you can. Maybe you can solve the whole thing already. Great. So we've got the ones place, the tens place, the hundreds place, and the thousands place, and we're multiplying it all by 3. So times 3. What is the value in the ones place? 9. Easy enough. What's the value of the tens place? Not 7, but 70. Because the 7 is worth 70. What's the value of the hundreds place? Well, if we read it, we would say 200. So it has to be 200. And what's the value in the thousands place? Not 1, but 1,000. Then I'm adding them all together because when I add them all together, I get my original number. Now it's your turn to multiply each of the parts and then find the answer. Go ahead, pause the video and do that. Now we're going to add up each of those answers. And we're going to say, okay, if I add them up, my answer here should be greater than 3,000. If it's not, please feel free to come ask me. I want to help you solve this. All right, let's continue with our partial products. We know that we need to first write our problem. So I'm copying it exactly like it's written here, not like what I have here, because this one I might have copied this one incorrectly. So I copy from the problem. 1,279 times 3. Now I've seen a few people just add that number 3 times, which is an okay strategy, but right now it's specifically asking you to do partial products, so that is what is expected. All right, as we multiply, I think I might have written mine a little too large because I need to have 4 things here and then add it up because there are 4 parts. So I'm going to rewrite this really quick. In partial products, we are first going to start in our ones place. We're taking our ones place, the 9 times the 3. So that goes over here, 9 times 3. I'm not going to continue to write stuff in because you're really good at this right now. And then we will say, okay, 9 times 3, the answer to that goes here. Next, we're going to multiply our tens. Remember, you can pause me whenever you need to. And we're going to say, okay, I have 7 tens times 3. 7 tens is 70 times 3. So I'm not writing it, but I'm saying it. 70 times 3. And your answer to that will go next to it. Then we have our hundreds place. We have 2 hundreds times 3. So over here I'm going to write 2 hundreds times 3. And then when I figure out what 200s times 3 is, I'm going to write it there. Then I have 1,000s times 3. So it's going to be 1,000 times 3, which is what you know. Then we're going to add those together. And your answer should be the same as what we did in the area model, which is greater than 3,000. Now we're going to do the distributive property of multiplication. Okay, as we know, we can see it in the area model. And in the area model, we can see that we did 3 times 1,000 plus 200 plus 70 plus 9, but we need our parentheses here because 1,000 plus 200 plus 70 plus 9 was all together in our original number. So that will be written here. So again, that was 3 times 1,000 plus 200 plus 70 plus 9 is written here. The other way that we could write it is we wrote right here, kind of hard to see, especially since there's no numbers there, each step that we did. So we did 1,000 times 3 plus, and I'm going to write my parentheses here. Well, those are hard to see. The parentheses around my numbers, plus 200 times 3, plus 70 times 3, plus 9 times 3. So that will be written here. All 4 of those steps go here. So these 4 steps go here. Those are the 2 ways that we can write these problems. Now this last one, I'm going to help you estimate, but I would like to see you try it on your own. Okay, so I'm going to look at it and I'm going to say, all right, I can see this large number here, 3,888. Is that closer to 3,000 or is that closer to 4,000? Well, it's closer to 4,000. And I'm going to multiply it 9 times. So 9 times the 1's place, 9 times 0 is 0, times the 10's place, 9 times 0 is 0 tenths, 9 times the 100's place, 9 times 0 is 0 hundredths, and then we have 9 times 4, 36. So our answer should be a little bit less than 36,000 because our original number is a little bit less than the number we estimated. So our answer will be less than that. Draw your area model. It will have 4 places because we have the ones, tens, hundreds, and thousands. There's a 0 here, so the value of that number is 0. So that you don't forget, I want you to make sure that you're writing your problem in the area model. And then you'll add up your parts over here. And then in your partial products, you're writing your problem again. Times 9. Leave some space for yourself. Okay, and on the side you will, once you circle each of them, multiply. Okay, remember that we can find the distributive property here, and we can also find it here. I'm so proud of you guys. You have learned so much in the last week about multiplication. I'm so excited to look at these. Remember, if you haven't solved the partner work already, once you're finished with this video, you may work with a partner who is going to be a good partner for you to work with to solve the questions on the partner work page. So just to remind you, day 4, partner work. These are the 2 problems that you may solve with a partner. Okay, it must be someone who's also done with the videos, okay? So, make sure you're staying organized and keep up the great work. All right, I'm tired. I'm going to bed. Night, night.